So I did my student class presentation on the bunched arrowhead, which is a perennial plant nearby where I live, and it's very endangered. So the scientific name of the bunched arrowhead is Sagittaria fasciculata. It's a small herbaceous perennial that grows to about 15 to 16 inches. Its leaves are tapered at the tip, which means that it gets thinner as you go to the top, and they go up to 12 inches long for the leaves and 1.5 inches wide. The white flowers bloom in mid-May to July, so if you were to come up to specific areas or very specific areas in South Carolina and North Carolina during this seasons, on these preserves, you'll see the white flowers, and it's found in undisturbed sites that are typically located below origin of slow, clean, continuous seeps on gently sloping terrain in deciduous woodlands. So the important things to take away from this are that it's on these seeps and it's also in these deciduous woodlands. So it is currently found in 2 counties in the world, which is Greenville, South Carolina, and Henderson, North Carolina. It was previously in Buncombe, but it's very rarely found now, so it's not really someplace you'd go to look for it. It's designated as a highly endangered species by the federal government in 1979, and its primary factor for determining the rarity for this is that it has a very small habitat. And it's a very specific habitat as well, so wetlands are already very rare, and now there's the fact that this barely shows up anywhere, so it's only 2 places on the planet. It grows in seepage forests, so this means the water comes up through the ground rather than feeding into the area like a pond. And it can also be spring-fed, so the idea of seeps as well. These seepage areas have muck sand suspensions where the plant can grow, attaching to other plants by rhizomes. And this is what it looks like. So you can see these are the flowers. You see these during the summer, and then these are the leaves. The plants are suspended above the water of the bottom muck, and they grow gently free-flowing stream water that is absent of sediment. So this other idea of sediment that we'll cover later is important for its habitat. It grows at different depths ranging from 1 to 12 centimeters, and it can be found in 1 meter deep at the West Fort Mills habitat. It's mostly found in partially shaded forests, so this idea of deciduous forests it's more important now, and it can be seen in summer areas or sunny areas, but it's not often seen there. Underlying bedrock is composed of granite and gneiss. The soil is well-drained, sandy loam and clay loam. Its adjacent land is usually forested or shrub, so once you get out of these forests, you'll see either shrubby areas or grasslands. It grows in low-lying depressions or streams that are fed by groundwater seeps, so this idea of the water coming up through the ground, and the surface pH is typically acidic. So as you can see here, it's like a wetland-like area. You can see the flowers again. This is not fed by streams. It can be fed, but it's almost always fed or found in these areas where water's coming up through the ground. And then these are the 2 areas that you'll find it. There's this very small portion of South Carolina where I'm from, right up there, and then there's this portion in Henderson County in North Carolina where you can also find it. And this is also where the preserves are as well. So what are the threats to this habitat? Mainly runoff. And the runoff that is produced typically has lots of sediment, and this sediment feeds into these habitats for the arrowhead, and it'll contaminate the waters, and it'll kill the plants. There's also Chinese privet. Privet kills lots of stuff. It's a weed, it's everywhere, and it really does hit on these arrowheads in our area, so we go and weed it out every now and then. Land development as well. Whenever you're developing land around it, it'll kill these forests and then slowly make its way there through runoff as well. So these preserves, in response to the limited and threatened habitat of the arrowhead, several protected preserves have been set up to monitor and protect the plant. There's Furman University, which currently has a population that students study and monitor to determine which habitats are best for it, which habitats are not good. So it's an ongoing study at Furman University. And then there's the Bunched Arrowhead Preserve in Travelers Rest, as well as the bog, or the Back Fork Bog Plant Conservation in Henderson, North Carolina. And then this is the Travelers Rest Preservation, right around here where I live. And then something that recently happened to this bunched arrowhead is in 2020, Piedmont Natural Gas, which is a company that is headed off by Duke, they proposed a construction of a new high-pressure pipeline going through this area, and they actually actively avoided the bunched arrowhead preserves. But in response to this, Upstate Forever, Conservation Organization, National Land Trust, and Southern Environmental Law Center fought to keep this pipeline from going through people's lands. So they already avoided the preserve, but now they're going through people's property. So in response to this, multiple people went and looked on their property for this bunched arrowhead, as well as the dwarf heartleaf, which are two endangered plants in this area. And when they found it, they would report this, and this is one of the main reasons why the pipeline was not, it didn't come through multiple people's property around here. Currently, Travelers Rest uses this to fight off multiple, land developments that are happening near this preserve, and possibly not the preserve, but other people's property and developed or undeveloped land. So an example of this would be my farm as well. The rarity of this species and extremely limited habitat range is main reason why it's protected. There's so little of it, its habitat is so small, and if we don't take care of the small habitat, then it'll be gone. It also hasn't been studied much, so we don't know what uses it could be used for, other than the fact that it is part of an ecosystem, and all ecosystems are linked. So if we were to lose this endemic plant, then we don't know what happened to our local ecosystems. And then these are my sources.